Hello, my friend. Today is going to be a slightly different video. Today, I'm going to explain to you the basic words of the world of money. We all hear words like tax, bank, investment, and inflation, but most of us never really learned what these words truly mean. No one at school explained them to us, and at home, these topics were usually never discussed either. Then we grew up and suddenly found ourselves inside a world full of these words. Yet none of these concepts is actually complicated. It's just that no one ever explained them to us patiently, in simple language, and that is exactly what I'm going to do today. I promise you that by the end of this video, the way you look at money will change. If you're ready, let's start from the very beginning. Our first word is the root of everything, money. So what is money, really? Take a look at that piece of paper in your pocket. In truth, it is just a piece of paper. On its own, you can't eat it, you can't drink it, and it's of no use. But when you hand that paper to a baker, you get bread in return. And this is exactly where the secret of money lies. Money is a carrier of value. It is a shared tool of trust that people have agreed upon. In the old days, people used to trade goods for goods. Someone holding wheat had to find someone who wanted shoes. This was a very troublesome method. Then people found a common tool, money. Money is like a shared language that everyone accepts. It lets you take your labor and exchange it for someone else's labor. Every country has its own money, that is its own currency. A country's money is actually a reflection of the trust placed in that country. Never underestimate the value of money, but never let this slip from your mind either. Money is not a goal, it is only a tool. Now we come to a very important word, value. People usually confuse price with value, yet these two are never the same thing. Price is the label on top of something. Value, on the other hand, is what that thing truly gives you. Let me give you a small example. Something cheap can sometimes cost you dearly. Think of a cheap tool that breaks in a short time. You are forced to keep buying a new one. In the end, without even realizing it, you've spent a lot of money. An expensive thing, on the other hand, can sometimes turn out to be very valuable. Think of a tool that lasts for years and does its job flawlessly. You buy it once and use it for many years. This is exactly the difference between value and price. A smart person looks not at the price but at the value. When buying something, always ask yourself this. Not, how much is this costing me? The real question should be, what is this truly giving me? Once you learn to see value, you'll use your money far more consciously. Our third word is perhaps the most powerful of all, time. Most people never take time into account when they think about money. Yet when money and time come together, a whole different power is born. A sum of money today and the same money in the future are not actually the same thing, because time quietly works on money. Think of it this way. If you set your money aside and wait, that money just sits there on its own. But if you leave that money to grow in the right place, time begins to work for you. Think of a small seed. When you plant it in the soil, it doesn't become a tree right away. But if you are patient and give it time, over the years it turns into a huge tree. Money is exactly the same. The person who starts early is always ahead of the one who starts late. Because they hold the most valuable thing of all, time. A person who has time doesn't need a great deal of money. A small step you take today will make a very big difference years later. That is why the best time to start is always right now. Understand the value of time well, because you can never get it back. Now we come to a somewhat dangerous word, inflation. Inflation is money losing its value over time. In other words, what you can buy with money today, you may not be able to buy with the same money tomorrow. Prices slowly rise, but the amount of money in your pocket usually stays the same, and this means your money quietly melts away. You can think of inflation as a silent tax. No one asks you for it openly, but every day it reduces the power of the money in your pocket a little more. That is exactly why keeping money motionless is a risk in itself. Most people think that keeping money in one place is the safest path. Yet sometimes even doing nothing is actually moving backward. Think of money waiting inside a jar. While that money sits there, prices outside keep rising without stopping. Years later, that money stays the same, but its purchasing power drops seriously. This is that silent effect of inflation. That is why you must learn to protect your money against inflation. Understanding inflation is the first step to protecting your money. Our fifth word is a place that's part of all our lives, the bank. So what does a bank really do? Most people think a bank is just a vault where money is stored, but a bank is actually much more than that. A bank is a system in which money moves. When you put your money in a bank, that money doesn't just sit there. The bank lets others make use of that money. So a bank is like a bridge. It stands between the one who has money and the one who needs money. The bank also takes its own share of the money crossing that bridge. And this is the basic job of banks. A bank also keeps your money safe. It lets you make your payments easily, but never forget this. A bank is not a charity. A bank is a business and it exists to make money. That is why you should always stay alert when dealing with a bank. Know that every convenience offered to you has a price. Understanding the bank is the key to using it correctly. Our sixth word frightens most people, tax. But there's no need to be afraid because it's actually very simple. Tax is the share we all pay for our shared life, the roads you walk on, the hospitals you go to, your children's schools. All of these are financed from somewhere, and that source is largely taxes. When you earn, you give a part of it to the state. And when you buy something, most of the time there is tax inside it. So tax is almost everywhere in life. Most people see tax only as a burden. Yet tax is the price of living together. But a smart person also tries to understand tax. Because if you know its rules, you also know how much you're paying. Learning what is subject to tax is your most natural right. It is wise not to evade tax, but to understand it. When managing your earnings, you must always take tax into account too. Because the real money left in your hand is what remains after tax. Understanding tax lets you see your money with a realistic eye. Our seventh word has become far more important in recent years: the credit score. Let me explain it to you this way. A credit score is a mark that shows how trustworthy you are when it comes to debt. Think about it. If you were going to lend money to someone, who would you trust to lend it to? Of course, someone who keeps their word and pays their debt regularly. And the credit score measures exactly this. If you paid your debts on time in the past, your score rises. If you constantly delayed your payments, your score drops. This mark is a short summary of whether you can be trusted. If your score is good, more doors open in front of you. If your score is bad, those doors slowly close. That is why protecting this score is truly very important. Keeping your word is not just a fine virtue. It is at the same time a great financial strength. A person who pays their debt on time builds trust in themselves, and this trust later opens new doors for them. Protecting your credit score is, in fact, protecting your reputation. Our eighth word is one you hear from time to time in the news: recession. That is economic decline. Up to now, we've always talked about your own money, but now for a moment we're going to look at an entire economy. A recession is a period in which the whole economy slows down together. People start to spend less, business slows down. Some people lose their jobs. Everyone becomes a little more cautious. So why does this happen? Because the economy is just like breathing. It breathes in, it breathes out. Sometimes it speeds up, sometimes it slows down. A recession is the period in which the economy breathes out and, in a way, rests. It sounds bad, but it's actually a natural part of this cycle. What matters is being prepared for these periods in advance. And that is exactly why an emergency fund is priceless. When hard days come, the one who is prepared stays standing. Understanding recession teaches you to prepare without fear. Our ninth word is perhaps the one people are most curious about: investment. Investment sounds complicated, but at its core, it's actually very simple. Investment means money working for you. Normally, you work for your money. You get up in the morning, go to work, and give your effort. But with investment, the exact opposite happens. This time, your money starts working in your place. Think of an asset, something whose value rises over time or that earns you something regularly. And that is what investment is: owning such an asset. Even while you sleep, that asset keeps working for you. But know this very well too. Every investment also carries a risk. Its value can rise and it can also fall. That is why you should never put money into anything you don't understand. First learn, then take the step. Investment is not gambling. Investment is a matter of patience and knowledge. Understanding investment opens the door to growing your money. And our last word actually brings all of them together: investing. Pay attention, this is a little different from the previous word. Investment is a concept. Investing, on the other hand, is a behavior, a habit. Investing once is easy. The real matter is being able to sustain it regularly. Think of small but continuous steps. Every month, a little with every opportunity that comes your way. These small steps pile up over time. And that is when the snowball effect slowly kicks in. Not one single big move. A regular and patient walk. The real difference appears exactly here. You don't always need large sums to become wealthy. Most of the time, small but regular steps and a little time are enough. Make investing a habit, let it be as natural as drinking water every day. Then time becomes your greatest partner. Investing is a promise you make today to your future. So, my friend, we've seen the basic words of the world of money together: money, value, time, and inflation, bank, tax, credit score, and recession. And finally, investment and investing. Look, none of these was actually complicated, was it? It's just that no one had ever explained them to us patiently before. Now, these words are no longer a riddle for you. From now on, when you look at money, you'll see so much more. And never forget this: knowing these concepts already puts you one step ahead. Because most people spend a lifetime without ever learning them. So, which of these words was the newest to you? Don't forget to write to me in the comments. Take good care of yourself and always manage your money wisely. See you in the next video. Take care.